Welcome, traveler. You are now listening to Castle Black, the blackest House of Dragon podcast in all the realms.
Castle Black by For All Nerds is powered by our listeners. Everything we do, from our podcast, live events, website, and more, are independently funded. Please continue to support us through our Patreon page at patreon.com/forallnerds.
Castle Black. So this is the seat of the Night's Watch.
Welcome back, internets, to another episode of Castle Black, the blackest House of Dragon podcast in all of the realms, powered by For All Nerds, where we discuss everything in the worlds of Game of Thrones from the perspective of people of color. And it is one of your hosts, Tatiana King, aka the Lord of Lightsabers, joined by my beautiful co-hosts, Chica.
Everybody, this is Chica, aka Chica Supreme, aka the Sea Snake's Loctician, aka Tomato, no more Otto.
And we also have my equally gorgeous co-host, Portia.
Hey everyone, it's Portia Pattersonhurst, aka Lady Mary Jane of Highgarden, aka Maester of Disguise, and I had one for this week, but maybe I'll reveal it later because I don't have it right now.
That's okay. I need to come up with another one, but you gotta spin the block on that one, Chica. Who'd you say Otto was?
Tomato, no more Otto.
That nigga's a loser. Well, we are here to speak all things Otto being a loser, as well as all the craziness of this episode. Episode 4 of House of the Dragon, titled King of the Narrow Sea, directed by Claire Kilner, written by Ira Parker. All right, just before we get into the details about what we liked, what we loved, all this other stuff, this was a lot.
Yeah.
I have to pause because this Ben Amin said this earlier this week, and he was referring to episode 3, but now I'm seeing exactly what he means. House of Dragon is the power of the Game of Thrones franchise, because the types of just outrageous things happening, the outrageous plot, the Maury like turns that are happening right now is just out of control, but in the most entertaining way possible. So, Ben, I mean, you were right. I didn't know what he meant by that, but now after this episode, I'm like, God damn, you were completely right. And also, I just wanted to mention, just for those who are listening, we're gonna run something new on our socials. It's gonna be called what? The Dragoon of the episode. I want to say like the Dragoon of the week.
Yeah.
But the Dragoon of the episode. So what we're gonna do is every episode, there's always that one person where you like, here come this nigga, or this person is just down bad, or it's just like they are just absolutely ridiculous and they just deserve to be called out. So we're gonna run some polls every week, really, for each episode, and you tell us, who do you think is the Dragoon of the episode? All right, who do you think just is a mess and they need to be called out for it? All right. And we're going to also put in our 2 cents probably by the end of this review, but just wanted to throw that out there. So, as mentioned, we're going to get started. Please, I'm going to start with you, Portia. Tell me something that you appreciated or liked about episode 4.
I'm gonna start, I guess, like early on in the episode. I was with Lord Blackwood just telling Baratheon what he could do with that loudmouth of his, and that is die. Because if you can't back up the weight you're putting behind words, then why speak up, son? Like, you're a whole full adult making fun of a child, and he ran you through with his sword when you're the one who drew your sword first. So he deserved the L. Loved it. You love to see it. I love to see blowhards go down fast. It's just a fave of mine. And I really appreciated that. We see that House Baratheon does not stay on top, and they don't deserve to, honestly.
Okay, I'm glad you mentioned like the names, because I'll still not, except for the main characters, I still don't know who's who or don't recall who's who. Like, 'cause it's just a bunch of niggas on screen at this point. But I I want to say that scene was funny as hell to me because I loved how when all that was going down, Rhaenyra was like, "It is ghetto in here. Let's fucking leave. Like we got to go." And it did. Like it got
Mhm.
real ghetto in there real fast. And I was with her the whole time. Like I saw her exasperation. Even I had exasperation. You bring this fucking old man Winter to try to talk about he wants your hand in marriage, then you give a kid, and it's just like, are you being serious right now? Like, there's no way you are. And I understand what her duties are and all that stuff, but I felt her like this is fucking ridiculous.
Most definitely, I thought it was ridiculous, and I appreciated Lord Blackwood. Okay, I knew Lord Blackwood had some black and miles before he went up into that little court, talking about
He's like 6.
we could. They start early.
He puffed up his chest like he was doing something. Like he did do something.
He was on something.
He
He
did
was
something.
most definitely on one because he was like, okay, since you want to be talking about me and me possibly with Rhaenyra, you gonna get a shank today, and that's all he wrote. He was gone.
He was
I
all hopped up on Mountain Dew is what he was. He was right in
Mountain
that.
Dew. Ooh, Pop Rocks. I know he has
Some
Pop
Blackwood
Rocks.
blackberry juice, something. He was on something.
All
I
mixed together.
swear that like so I will say I'm pretty sure those are Baratheons because of the sigil. If I'm wrong, y'all let me know. Like internets, let me know. But I'm pretty sure that's the House Baratheon sigil that they were wearing. 'Cause they were all like in their like colors. So I was like, okay, that looks like the Baratheon one. Y'all let me know if I'm wrong. But like the way that like the Baratheon was kind of amusing Rhaenyra, because even though she was like over the whole situation, she was like at least I mean like I don't like she wasn't like 100% with him, but she's like some kind of like entertainment's happening right now because this is like y'all are treating me so disrespectfully. Like this is what you're giving me.
It's wild
I'm tired.
disrespectful.
I'm done. Goodbye.
They literally put her on an episode of Jerry Springer. Like it was medieval Jerry Springer, complete with an audience, people with they 2 cents in their comments, and I mean that's why I was just like, this is fucking bizarre, but in the funniest way. And I'm just for the motif of how like they're running this series, with the exception of many things. But like this, I do appreciate about House of Dragon. Chica, tell me something that you liked about this episode.
So what I liked, I guess to go off from the beginning, sort of. I am glad that Rhaenyra and Alicent buried the hatchet a little bit
Mm.
because they were out of sorts in the last episode because Homegirl had her brother and she really wasn't feeling that, especially since there were like, vibes, some lesbian vibes and
Mhm.
stuff. And now they're just able to be friends again, which is great. I think that Rhaenyra needs to have somebody that she can talk to. Now, it's not going to be the same as it was before. She's not going to give her all of like the deets of what she's doing, which is
Right.
actually something we saw later on in the episode. But they can still be cordial. So I'm glad that they reunited in that way.
Mm-mm. Because of you, Portia, but what you explained last episode about the trees with the faces on them, I don't know what the proper term for that is. I I was really paying attention to that because once again, the tea comes out in front of the tree. You know what I'm saying? Like there's supposed to be the secret conversation between the two ladies. And I'm just like, fam, it's just like everything, even the lies come out in front of this. So like, how does this information get like disseminated later? Like who is able to glean besides Brand? Who is able to glean this information and use it or not against others? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I like honestly, I don't know in this era of like Children of the Forest. I know from the book that like this House of Dragon stuff is on like Fire and Blood that they didn't really talk about Children of the Forest in that book really. But
Mm.
I don't know that they won't dramatize Children of the Forest, and they are the main ones who have like direct access to tapping the memory card of all the trees.
Mm.
So I would be interested to see if they do have that kind of a storyline, if the Children of the Forest do play a role and what happens going forward. I know like this is like the Dance of Dragons. There's another thing that happens with the Targaryens later on. that the Children of Force have a little bit to do with. So it could be interesting if they end up using that against them, and if we do get to see that later.
This house is an absolute mess, just of the highest order, the Targaryen house. And what just from seeing it, because technically we're seeing the past right now, right? Like, it reminds me of episodes of Game of Thrones where, like, when Daenerys was first on the come up and people would talk about her, like they would talk dirty about her, like, and they would talk about her family. And yes, the things that were true, you from a family of inbreds, but also I swear that after I finished watching this episode, I swear there was an episode or a point in Game of Thrones where someone mentioned her uncle, her great uncle or whatever, sleeping with, somebody in the family. And I swear someone said that in an episode. I'm like, bro, were they referring to Rhaenyra and Damon? If they were even having that conversation at all. Maybe.
They might have been, because, the Targaryens, they be touching on each other. So it really could be, it could be an uncle. It could be brother and sister.
Oh,
I hope
God.
the parents don't get into that, because, Jesus, they have to have a line. But still, they be touching each other.
Oh, God. This nasty work. One of the things I liked, you actually had an AKA for it, Chica. And I said it this way: Viserys future endeavored Otto Hightower. Goodbye. See you later. Love it. All my wrestling fans will understand what future endeavored mean. But for him to cut the cord. Now, it's like, in one hand, I'm glad it happened, but it's also like, is it too little too late at this point? Like, niggas been told weak ass Viserys to do this. Like, they been said, watch your back, watch your front, watch who you keep. Because especially Otto, he's out to get you, essentially. And yes, Viserys says he knows and thinks he knows. He's like, yeah, no one's really on my side. Everybody wants something for themselves. But it feels like what makes him, and it's so funny to use this word, what makes him so impotent as a king is he don't action on what the things people tell him. And so it was so cool to finally say, happen, like, all right, finally you listening to Rhaenyra. And to me, it was only because it was negotiated to listen to her. She was like, all right, I'll marry Rhaenyra, but you got to do your job. And that's the only reason why Viserys finally stepped up and did the thing. But I don't know. Are y'all agree, like, happy that this shit finally happened, or you're just like, whatever? Like, how do you feel?
I think that.
I'm gonna let you go. No,
I just think that. Because y'all know I know things. That was gonna be my AKA. I drink and I know things. I knowing what I know, I just feel like I'm gonna go do this. I think that Viserys, like, as more time goes by, I feel like he likes having the concept of him being known as like a people pleaser to his court. It's what he likes having that kind of like as a like persona of his, or something, like a like part of his reputation. But I honestly think, like, outside of him just like wavering and not like wanting to make decisions, I think a good chunk of it is also that, like, he's actually kind of using, like, as someone who was not expected to have power, the suddenly received power. I think that Viserys basically uses power as something to judge everyone around him. Like, he gives people access to power through him, and then he uses it to judge them. I don't know that Otto Hightower had really hit the, like, line in the sand that he had for whatever power test he was doing. I don't think that, like, I don't know that is actually, like, something that he was going to move on. Except for that he knew that it was now a bargaining chip with Rhaenyra, so he had to follow through. I don't know, like, Otto probably could have kept playing that man, and he would have kept allowing it because he just likes to see what people do with power to an extent.
Right. And that's why I kind of didn't want to give him credit. Like, yeah, I'm really happy that you did it, but it's also like, did you really?
Yeah, like, I honestly think that he just was like, it's like people are kind of like a social experiment for him to an extent, like how he treats Alicent, and like how he doesn't really give her affection, but he does allow her to frame how he makes decisions. So even though their marriage isn't full of like love and affection, it is her being able to say, well, I did tell the king to do this and he did it. So there's something she's getting out of it, even if he's not really doing anything to make her feel any better about being married to him.
Not with them late night calls, he ain't.
Nothing. over here sponge bathing this old man.
With your
whatever.
rotten ass body. Let's talk about that real quick. So Portia, you got your wish. You were like, I was looking for that man's fingers to be gone. Well, you got it, because he got like 2-3 of them bitches gone, and then the rot is spreading on his body. And that's not. I don't want to be up under no man that's having some issues like that. Okay, and I can't. So I mean, besides the clear social reasons why, I was just like, when Alicent was just sitting there looking at the sky, I was just like, I was praying for her too. Like, I don't care how you feel about Alicent. I was praying for old girl, because it was just to have to be subjected to that, and then the man's body is rotting, fam. Like, it's gotta smell like Funyuns in there. It's got
What's up her pH balance?
I feel like my thing is like, it's like, yeah, his digits on his hands are gone, but like she's looking for a whole other digit to be off of his body. Like, she's tired. She's popped out. She squeezed out the airs that she was put into this marriage to do.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about it later, but yeah, I thought that her sponge bathing him was her being like, hopefully this man will get, warm in this bath, and he'll get his little sponging, he'll go lay down, and he'll be done for the night. Like, he gonna bother me. He got a sponge bath, he talked to me, we're good.
But I do believe that Alicent is kind. Like, she, whether out of sympathy or really that she does have a kind heart, I do believe like she really was just, there was no, to me in my head anyway, there was no real power play there. Like, she was doing it because she was just like, niggas is suffering, let me show some sympathy.
Sure, but maybe like there's an off chance this man won't want to mess with me tonight because I was here in his space for this moment. So does he need to see me for the rest of the night? No, I can go lay down in my bed, turn off the lights, and go to sleep without him touching me.
Well, that's interesting, because I always feel like if you're nice to a nigga and he's like, oh, she feeling me, that's going to make them feel more impetus. Like, yeah, man, I'm going to, I'm fucking something tonight. Like, that's how he was acting to me. So I don't know that she did that thinking that, oh, nothing was going to happen. Well, like, you're right. She's also a little bit naive too. So maybe she did think that.
And, there's like women have been socialized to go along with whatever men say, just to like go along for the get along and not have to like make any strife in the relationship. So I could totally see that being a thing. But I also think like the way that lady came and was like, the king wants to see you. And she was just like, ugh.
I mean, she knew. And it was so funny. Alicent was like, it's a little late, fam. And the servant was like, yeah,
girl,
nigga,
you know what it is.
You knew what it was when you signed up. Like, that's how the servant looked at her like, okay, have a blast.
Man, she wasn't thinking the long way, because if she was thinking like her daddy, she should have put something up in that wine, because he's always drinking it, Put a little sleeping stuff up in there. You're like, oh, okay, I bathed you. Here's your cup of wine. I'm going to see you later. And then he's out. But no, she had to stare up at the ceiling and just wait for him to be done.
Maybe it's because of Game of Thrones, but it's 4 episodes in it, and I still haven't seen nobody poisoned. I'm upset. I've been anticipating this, and it still hasn't fucking happened. Everything else on the sun has happened already, but I'm just like, where's the poisoning? But whatever. I'm sure we'll get that. Chica, give me another thing that you liked about this episode.
So something else that I liked about the episode is Damon and Rhaenyra also reuniting until it went left, y'all. It went left. But when he came back, it was like, oh, okay, it felt as if Rhaenyra finally had someone for herself, because everybody at the throne, they're just concerned about Viserys, and they're concerned about Aegon and Alicent's kids, and they still don't really make that space for her. They still don't really give her that respect. And so here comes her uncle, and this is the one that was there for her when her mother died and spoke to her and like has given her gifts before. And then they are able to like see eye to eye on things and like bond. So I was glad that she was able to have that time to like talk with him. And at the same time, until it went left, I also thought it was cool that he took her out of the castle, because he has to be, I mean, she doesn't have many relatives. So it's like, you need to have like the fun relative, the fun uncle, the fun aunt. That's just like, okay,
the cousin, the favorite cousin. Yeah.
Your cousin, like your family, your parents, they might be boring as hell, but I'm not. Like, let's go out and like watch this play and laugh at things and eat stuff. And unfortunately, it didn't just stop there. But before it went to like the whole pleasure house thing, I was just like, okay, I was here for the bond. I was just like, yeah, there you go.
Yeah, I agree with you. That's something I enjoyed, and particularly the line, again, way before everything went left, the line Damon said, what he said, you cannot live in fear or you will forsake the best parts of it, meaning life or of this world. And it's very true of our real world, right? Like, you know, a lot of people are pessimists, glass half empty type of folks, and it's just like everything's always terrible all the time. And I don't blame that type of thinking or viewpoint. At the same time, it's like there are some good things in this world. There are things to fight for, and there are things that you should try to live for, right? Like even in not every circumstance, but in some of the worst circumstances, you have to look for the good in it, right? So I felt that line, that was cool, and exactly what you said. Like that's the only nigga she speak patois with. That's the only nigga that she could spin the block with, right? And ride dragons and do all this stuff, and the only one that just lets her be free in her thoughts and her wants and needs, I guess, before that other shit happened. So I was with it. And this is what the fuck I'm talking about when I said last episode, I fuck with Damon and then I do not. And why I said I feel like every time he's gonna be on the episode, I'm gonna yo back and forth between, oh, that's my nigga, and also fuck Damon, because it was big fuck Damon this episode. What the fuck was that? And that's also my dislike. So I'll just pause here. We're talking about likes. But yes, I did initially like the fact that he came back and was, you know, showing her, I can show you the world, you know, all that stuff. Portia, give me another thing that you enjoyed about this episode.
So I'm with Chica when mentioning like, so I'm set, like this is a thing I liked, but also a thing I'm weary of because it honestly could be queer baiting, but I'm hopeful that it's not queer baiting because come on, like really just give it to us. We keep seeing signs that Rhaenyra and Alicent are more than just former besties.
Yes.
And in this episode, especially in the beginning, when like we go from a scene of Rhaenyra like not being interested in any men there, we go to a scene of Alicent being with the king, but like not actually. He's making jokes about it, being condescending about her, and she finds her like her old friend is the one who's giving her comfort and like making her feel empowered in the time. Like, and then later on, after whenever the king does that and like Rhaenyra gives her support, like she's like, I'll go sit in I'll go see the tapestries, and that's when they get a quiet moment together. So it's almost like Rhaenyra was seeking a moment alone with Alicent. And then later on, when Alicent the way that she responds to the idea of Rhaenyra possibly laying with a man, it just seemed like it was something more than like, I understand that women can uphold misogyny and are also part of the system when it comes to being like, don't let a man touch you, you're making a bad reputation for yourself, blah 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 blah. But like it was the way that she was like, did you lay with, like, did you?
Yeah,
like,
she was more
like,
mad.
She was like personally hurt, like personally like you like the, and I don't think it was on a level of like how like it seemed like it was kind of like I thought that we both were on the same page of like we don't like men, like we are right, not, we are only into each other, what's going on, like what are you doing out here in these streets? And I feel like the way that Rhaenyra like sought to like come like be like, no, it's like it's not all like that, like I feel like it's just there's some lesbian bi stuff going on here.
You're absolutely right, Portia.
I want that to be true. I really wanted to culminate in a moment of them like literally just being able to be with each other. But I don't, and it would make the drama that comes later make so much more sense, honestly, if they were like to have this relationship. But I don't know if they're ever going to give it to us on screen, and I'm really upset about that. But I hope that this is, and that's why I like this moment. Or these moments is because I'm like, oh, please give us some payoff for the like this queer romance that you're possibly giving us right now.
Right. Let's see some scissoring, y'all.
Thanks, Chica.
Just gotta be blunt.
I mean, I feel even with the blurting out of that, I feel both of y'all. Like it's like you can see like it was that level of hurt. Alicent was mad about that, and
Man.
it wasn't she didn't it wasn't about, oh, you could sell your virtue. She didn't give a shit about that. It's what potentially happened, what she thinks happened, and with whom, and the fact, as you say, that was a man, and they have this bond, and there's some unspoken stuff. There may be some spoken stuff. Who knows? They've been, I assume, since they were little, like they've been coming up together. So is this bond that felt like she may have felt betrayed, and like she was hurt. So I completely
Ooh,
agree with
yeah.
She
you.
made a point to
Agree with you there.
personally have Rhaenyra come see her at the
Yeah.
tree.
Yeah.
Right, come see me, because I know I'm not staring up at this ceiling being miserable, and you out here getting pleasure at a pleasure house with your
Mhm.
uncle, because she was also talking about that too. She was
Yeah.
getting saucy,
But
like,
she
I know y'all
knows
like
that.
to do
She
things.
brought it up. She was like, you Targaryen.
Mhm.
She's like, girl, you married into an ancestral family. Like, don't
Like
play like
you
don't
knew what it
Girl.
play.
was when you signed up.
You knew
Eh,
what you signed up for.
Like
Your daddy tried to marry your child to your friend, so let's not.
it's always
Miss
marrying
Girl.
off of besties, like the children of besties are just trying to marry them off to each other and stuff like that. It's giving weird, but
Yeah.
but it's also, I also wonder, just in some of the things Allison said, how that was related to the jealousy of things, right? Because even though there's levels of, because they're both women or young women, young ladies, or whatever you want to call them. What are they, 19 and 20 respectively, or both 19? Um, they both don't have a level of freedom because the patriarchy, right? But it's also just like, in some ways, Rhaenyra has more freedom than her. And then for her,
Yeah.
Rhaenyra was talking about, oh, she's been running the block, doing this and doing that in the brothel, and she's just like, well, I'm upstairs, I'm stuck under, rotting man. Like, what am I supposed to do? I don't, and even when Rhaenyra made that offhand comment about, oh, you stuck popping out, people are stuck popping out babies, and Alicent took that personally. She was just like,
Yeah. But
Uh-huh.
it was real though. Like Rhaenyra was being real. She was talking about women across the freaking kingdom. She was like being
yep,
like, oh yeah, that is surely a romantic story. Being imprisoned in a castle to pop out heirs. Like
right.
that's what every woman dreams of, or little girl dreams of. And I think that like, yeah, like it was a shot, but it was like a grenade. It wasn't intended directly for Alicent. It was like, if you're in the range, you're gonna catch this fire too. But it's like for the whole system, it's like you're living up to the system. You're doing exactly what your father told you to uphold this thing that we all
Mhm.
dislike. And yet here we are. And I feel like for Alicent, I'm like, she has not shown any interest in any men. Like not the king, sure, because he's falling apart, but not any, like, I haven't seen her look lustfully at any man that has come by her. I'm sure that would be like disloyal to the king and all that or whatever.
Mhm.
But like seriously, like no one. So I feel like Alicent doesn't see it for men. And I mean, why should you? But
Why should you? And again, it is, the whole patriarchy as a plot line still annoys me, because it's like, like I
Like,
at this
we get
point,
it.
the PBS special is over, and it's like, the conversations with Viserys and Rhaenyra, like, you're a woman and this is what it is, and I know how you feel, and I'm trying, and I'm doing my, like nigga, y'all not trying, y'all just still upholding the status quo. Like, once again, as we see in the real world, like, y'all not really making change here. Like, and we're just talking, it's starting to get to the point a little that we're talking in circles about it. So I'm just, somebody do something is what I'm waiting for. And that just brings me to talking about doing something. That brings me to my last, like, and as a plot point, because of the way that they left it off on this episode, the abortion juice, or like,
Yeah, the tea.
I called it
Uh-huh.
Plan
the
T
real
instead of
tea.
Plan B.
Plan
It's Plan
T.
T.
Plan T. I've been
For sure.
calling it Plan B Bellinis. Plan B Bellinis for everyone. Okay. First of all, they're pro-choice in, in the King's Landing, in the world of King's Landing. I'm for it, even though everything else is all fucked up.
Are
Glad
they
to see-
pro-choice or are
You know what?
they
I was just thinking that. They're
anti-illegitimate
pro-choice.
children?
They're pro-choice when they have a power, or what's the word I'm looking for? When they have influence, or when they, like, I don't think like someone off the street could potentially have a choice,
Yeah, they can.
right? Can they?
Yeah.
Secretly.
So how do you think the brothels run?
That too. That too.
Yeah.
That too. Because I was wondering, like, is stuff like the tea, like for the privilege set, right? Or like if everyone's doing it. And if everyone's doing it and it's just something people don't talk about, then it's a pro-choice world.
Is it though if no one talks about it? Like if it's pro-choice, then let's be proudly pro-choice. Like, girl, you don't need to lay with that man. But like in the history of Game of Thrones,
pro-choice.
Overwhelmingly, it's always when we don't want the kid to live because you're working in a brothel, or it's an illegitimate kid, or we don't like who you're aligned. So this happened with in the books with Robb Stark. He married the woman from the camp. In the show they do something different. He married a lady, and her family was like, the house Stark is going down. We have already like plotted with the Lannisters to take Robb Stark out, so we're going to give you this moon tea and you're going to drink it. Even though she loved Robb Stark, they forced her to drink the tea, and she was married to him because they knew that his star was going to fall, and they wanted to make sure she was not at all tied to what was going to happen next with that family. So I just think it's Plan B. It's Plan T. That's what that is.
Plan T. Did either of you had any other likes that you wanted to mention? You had one Portia that I wanted you to mention. Misaria. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's talk about her and her accent. She bad.
I forgot about that stupid, because the accent changed again, and that's why I was just like, wait, what? Who is this? But go ahead.
Where are the continuity people? You know, where are the continuity editors, producers, whatever? So Misaria is, for this era, she's this era's Varys. She's this era's Littlefinger. I do not like that what it seems like her primary client right now is Otto Hightower. That's not great. I'm not with that.
Because that little boy, that same Tattletale, okay, whatever that nigga name is, ran over to Miss Misaria and gave her the coin. And I'm like, oh wait, y'all working together or working for her.
That's how Littlefinger and Varys worked. They both had people who were working and that people didn't notice. They called, like, for Littlefinger, they called him his spiders, or no, for Varys, they called him his spiders, the little birds, or whatever. The little birds for Littlefinger. That's who those are. Those are just regular commoners that people aren't noticing, like pages, little kids who are working in like all that stuff. That's who they that's who they have in their network. That's who their network is. And then they have some nobles who are part of it too. And I love that Misaria saw that, like, being tied to a noble man is not going to get you the life that you want to live. So you better make that money yourself, girl. And she figured, she's like, how can I get paid for having access to a Targaryen? The secrets. And I love it. I'm here for it.
It's lucrative.
Yes. And she wasn't even trying to like lay with Damon. She's like, here, drink this. And
she was treating that nigga like a street rat. Like, all right, like what? Like, cause she know he ain't about shit. Yeah. So like, why even still deal with him besides the proximity to what he knows or can potentially do? Yeah.
Yeah, and she was just like, you know what? Make sure to pay at the door. I'm just like, damn.
Right.
Not even old times. I was like, oh, first of all, they broke up because she was just like, oh, my king. Like, none of that. She was just like,
none of that.
Here, take this drink because I know you weak, and leave my money at the door.
Don't let the door hit you where the good Lord split you.
Oh, yeah. She was not having it. And I was surprised because, you know, Otto like really like was like called her a whore. Like whore. Like in
the church version.
The second episode. I was just like, but you know what? I mean, get your money, girl, I guess, you know.
You gotta make your coin some way. All right, let's go into the things we disliked. Portia, I'm going to ask you, I'm gonna go to you first. Give me one of your dislikes of this episode.
We've talked about it. I just want to drive it home. The older men are taking advantage of how much they've like forced the women in their lives to live subservient to them. They not only are they getting power by taking away power from the women, but because they put these women in these places where they can only depend on them, they're taking advantage of it left and right. From Damon, like, he ended up not doing anything with Rhaenyra, even though he took her to a pleasure. And that was the thing, is like, he knew that, like, he illustrated this whole thing. Like, he could have just, because he knows Red keep enough to like have all the mystery doors and stuff like that, and he had it all lined up for her. He could have just planned for a homegirl to have a night out of fun. What he did instead was make sure they were seen together in a brothel publicly.
Right.
Because if he really wanted to be with her on the side at night, he could have just pulled her to the side at night. He could have orchestrated that. He purposefully took her to a brothel full of all these witnesses, all these people who would see two Targaryens, because she took her hat off, she took off her whole costume. So he publicly made sure that everyone would see them together at a brothel. Like, he definitely did that on purpose, and it's like he used it to his advantage later, even after he didn't complete the deed with the king, to try to get out of his marriage with Lady Arryn in the Vale once again. Like, this man is striving in whichever way possible to, one, get rid of his actual wife.
Yeah.
And
what
then
what is with the women of the Vale? Like, because wasn't that where Sir Aaron, Robin Aaron, whatever that little nigga name that was still drinking breast milk at 25? Wasn't that the Vale people? Okay.
Yes.
What is with them?
However, his mother is from River Run. That was Catelyn Stark's sister. She's not a lady of the Vale. She didn't grow up over there.
You're right. Okay, continue. I'm sorry. I just thought about that. Like, wait, what? Okay.
But the ladies of the Vale are very
away from this
independent.
woman.
To be honest, they have a like reputation for being very independent because they're high up on a mountain and nobody really can reach them unless they want them to. So it breeds a level of independence in the women who are born in that house, which is probably the reason why he keeps talking crap about her. So he keeps trying to get rid of that marriage. And that's why I think that like Viserys really does play games with power, because he can tell you exactly what maneuver each person around him is trying to do with the power that he lets them have. For example, Damon, I know you're trying to, like, I thought that you were just trying to be an uncle, or that you just being your usual Damon self, but you're over here trying to reach for the throne yet again, and I'm tired. And I'm like, yeah. And I feel like Varys doesn't really have ground to stand on, because at the same time, he's over here laying with his hand's daughter, who is like, and he mentioned something about his daughter not being the right age to be hanging around with Damon or whatever. You're freaking over here married to a whole girl the same age, over here talking to her father while she's laying in your bed.
Hypocritical.
And not only hypocritical about it all, but you're also like, that girl, the only thing she gets from you is the feeling like she's accomplishing something by being part of you or whatever. Like, you don't like tell her that you love her. You don't like make sure she has like affection. You don't like, you have sex and she's not getting any pleasure. That, she's a virgin whenever y'all were together. She doesn't know all the ins and outs of like getting all of that. And instead of being like making her feel pleasure in sex, you just get what you want out of it as an old man who's falling apart. Like, the least you can do is help someone else out with pleasure. But here we are, and you don't care. So I'm tired of older men continuing to get away with not only forcing
getting
women
away with this.
I'm just tired. They keep getting away with it, and they keep like reinforcing how awful they're being, and I'm tired.
Patriarchy as a plot line. It's annoying. Similarly to you, Portia, I was going back and forth actually with the whole, was Damon. I was at first, because as I was writing my notes, I was watching the episode. So I'm like, Damon clearly did that shit on purpose. That's a trap. Why would he put them out in the open, in the public? Why would he take off her hat and all that? Like, that's fucking stupid. Why give her a whole costume to look like fucking Aladdin just to tell her to take it all off when they in the house? But then also, as stuff was going on, and he was, when he was getting dragged back to go talk to the king, I was like, is this nigga stupid? Like, is he that stupid, that dumb? Like, and again, and this is what I said before about why I don't, on the other hand of things, why I don't fuck with Damon. He will let his own emotions and ambitions sink his own fucking house. He will sink the ship with him on it, right? You standing in the middle and you drilling a fucking hole in the hull, right? Like, you will go down with the shit because, like, are you that dumb? And that's why I just question what side of the fence he's on. And even, and again, I was also even confused as whether or not he really did touch Rhaenyra, like actually perform the deed, or was he going back and forth with maybe doing it, maybe not. I couldn't tell, but the way they was looking like stiff boards. I don't know what was going on. But it was just like, it was the same kind of look he had on his face when they was on that bridge. And she said, if you want the throne, you're gonna have to kill me. And remember how I said it was very palpable how it looked like he was really thinking and doing the calculations in his head of, well, maybe if I kill her, I'll get this, or maybe if like he was really sitting there thinking about it. And it was that same look when he was like, am I gonna do this? And I'm just like, one, what the fuck is going on? And number two, if that was also your plan, why did you have to come here to do that? I get it from the Game of Thrones perspective, but what the fuck?
I feel like him being dragged back was honestly him having the like after effects of like he didn't perform the deed and he was drinking himself into oblivion, being like, oh, like when it came to me actually making this plan go through, I couldn't do it, kind of thing. Like he's having second thoughts. Like whenever he was like messing with her or whatever, and she kept going to kiss him and he kept pulling away. Like I think he was already having second thoughts as he was doing it. He got to the moment where he had her undressed and he was like seriously like not being like being able to do it. But then whenever the king confronts him, he's the fact, even though he didn't complete the whole mission that he went out for, he completed it enough to be able to use it to his usage later. So I just think that the man be second guessing himself. Like when you talk about Viserys and how he don't like to make decisions, Damon, like he will put him in a battle, he's ready. Put him in court politics, and this is where this man is.
That was my dislike. The whole brothel incest shit. I'm just like, what the fuck is happening? Whatever. Chica, what is one of the things you disliked?
I also dislike the brothel scene, but mainly it's just because of the fact that, Damon has a record of not finishing. So it looks like, what if he has erectile dysfunction? Because when he was trying to do the deed with Misaria, then he stopped and it was just like, oh, my king, you will be king and this, all that pillow talk shit or whatever, right? Then he gets his niece, in this pleasure house. And that's why I think he's got a problem, because, he's like voyeuristic and he's like, maybe if I see everybody else doing it and getting it on, then I'm going to do it and get it on. And at first it's like, you think he's almost there, but it just never lands. And so for me, I'm just like, outside of the fact that like, girl, that's your niece, bro. That's your niece. Like, it's like,
and you have
her born
trust with her. Like
you have a trust, you have a bond, and it's like, why would you now that you've done that, what happens to the bond? But really, it's, if you're gonna do, at least finish. Like, damn, like you never finish, Damon. Like, you don't have no kids. See, that's really what you have, no kids. Like, are you impotent?
He doesn't.
Like, what is the real issue? And then on top of that, because he was all like blood happy in the last episode, and that man, Krabby Patty, had grayscale. So I'm just like, so are you gonna mess with your niece's pH balance too? Or give her some type of disease? Like, seriously? And you cut off your hair, and then you're drunk or whatever, messed up in front of your brother. And it's just, I mean, damn, like,
you ain't like his haircut? You ain't like his haircut, Chica?
I think the haircut is because of the blood. I think he was like, he got all that diseased blood on his head, and he was like, I gotta cut it all off.
I thought he cut his hair because he was trying to be fly. Like, you know how when niggas, like when they feel like they accomplished something big time, they gotta change up their style or whatever. That's what I thought he was doing. Like he thought he didn't do that, but
I thought it was culling the bad blood out of his scalp.
That might be it. Yeah.
But the thing is, for me,
the lice.
They were cutting the wig. And so it was just like, oh, wig. Like, you see more of the wig and like just how big it is.
It was like a more obvious wig at this point.
It was very obvious. And so I'm just like, y'all is just doing too much. Like, the sex scenes in general, I didn't like none of the sex scenes. And if this is directed by a woman, what about us? I know you gotta do patriarchy type of stuff or whatever, but come on, there's female gays porn. There's female gays, like, like that stuff exists. Like, at least allow us to have a good time. It wasn't good at all. You saw that puss back man with Viserys and all his swords and his no fingers, and everything. Alicent looking up to the heavens because she's waiting for God to just take her out. And then you have Damon and Rhaenyra. Damon don't finish nothing or whatever, right? Which actually moves me to my nexus, like, because all of this is really just merged together. Because
Sure, go ahead.
Bad. So then Rhaenyra's not able to get off, but she's just like, "Oh, I'm gonna get something. I'm gonna get something.
I'm gonna fuck something tonight, just like her fucking daddy."
Daddy. Okay, so she goes back to the room, and then she gets Christian to go in the room with her, and she's playing with his
What was that childish shit? This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying when I'm like, this is so weird. Because it's like, I get it. She's a kid and she's trying to be playful. But that was some childish shit.
Right. It wasn't like, I thought she was trying to exercise like her feminine wiles, but it's like, girl, you've been looking the same the past couple episodes. Like, I don't know. Like, first
same bundles from past weeks.
Right. And the wig, her wig, that was pissing me off. Because I'm just like, you can't even do sexy and stuff. Because I'm just thinking, he's just got to move his hand wrong just one time. And then it's going to come off. Okay. Because the glue wasn't there. And she had to coerce Christian to even do anything. And so at first, for a very long time, I was just like, is he doing this because she's royalty? Does he really even want to?
Yeah.
And everything. And then it took so long to take off his clothes. And she was all excited. I'm just like, girl, if he really wanted to go and do all that stuff, he would have been ripping that shit off. Matter of fact, he would just take the pants off. That's all you need. Just take it off or whatever. And then...
You know, okay, but you don't want to be naked with some metal digging into you either. Like that, let's be real.
Right, but I was crying that they took the time to show us everything they was trying, like literally each little shoelace and string and button to take off. It took these bitches 45 minutes to get ready. And I'm just, and like you, and to your point, it's like, yo, if y'all was really about that life and y'all both wanted it, it would have just, you just would have just enough to be good and just did what you needed to do.
Just do the deed and go.
I was just like, oh, we are really sitting here watching y'all take off each article of clothing. Okay.
And after all of them articles of clothing came up, but like that shit, like you said, took 45 minutes. I would have been dry. What is the point?
What about, all I want to say is that they don't really care about us.
They don't care about, director, you do not care about me. And I'm noting it. Okay? At least let Alicent and Rhaenyra do something. Okay? Do something. That's what I want to see. I want to see them have fun.
It's the only thing that makes sense.
Mess.
It's the only thing that makes sense. And that actually made me mad. That leads to my list. Like, I thought they wasn't gonna be this predictable with Sir Christian or Ronaldo, whatever this nigga's name is. Like, I like what we said that last episode. We were like, nah, they're not gonna do that. Like, that's just too obvious.
Good Judy. No.
And then this happens. And also to your point, Chica, like, no, the nigga didn't want to do it. And also that man is honorable upon honorable. So like he ain't got time for that. And he was just like, are you sure? You know, he was doing all that goofy shit too, because he was like, I don't know about this.
It's and like, girl, he don't want you, girl. He don't.
I felt like I felt like, and that was one of my dislikes too, was like the general lack of enthusiastic consent for all of the sex in this episode. Like, and there's a reason why people say enthusiastic consent, because like begrudging consent looks like what we just saw. Like it looks like, oh, like you're the princess, and if I say no to you, you might, like, you're the same person who hired me, could be the same person who fired me. That's the same reason why people say quid pro quo for work is a thing. Like, you don't engage in that. Like, you don't need to do that. And this man, like, he says like because not all Kingsguard uphold the vows of not getting married and not having sex while they're like in the role of being a Kingsguard person. But this man seemed like he lived it and he believes in it. And I think part of him also was like having to reconfigure how he thought about Rhaenyra and how she talked about vows as she made this man break his vows. Like, I think he just had to like reconfigure. Like, so like whenever he comes to tell her that the queen is looking for her later, like that man he didn't want to be in that room. Like that was a place. It seemed like it was a place of rape. Like it was a place of like he don't want to be. This is a bad traumatic room for him. He doesn't want to be here.
Right. Yeah. And you saw it multiple times when he was just like, am I really doing this? And is this really happening? And every time he would just be stopping, and I'm just like, Rhaenyra, come on.
Like, girl, can you stop? Can you stop for 1 second and look around you? And can like, I feel like for a part of it, I feel like from how the directors and everyone kept it in, it feels like a choice to make it seem like women can be just as promiscuous, just as horny, just as like unaware. Yeah. Just as oblivious to everybody else's needs as men can. But you're not going to make me feel a way for patriarchy because women can do it too. Like, we're not going to do that.
So you think that was just a weird, like, comparison type moment?
Yeah,
I got a brew on that one. Oh, you brought up a good point, Portia. That's
the
a really
father
good point.
and the daughter just.
But the uncle and the Hightower, Otto Hightower, like everybody's complicit. Everybody's part of this. Everybody's
right. And I don't mean to take agency away from Rhaenyra. I also feel like Damon also in ways corrupted her. Like, yes, Rhaenyra made a choice.
Her. That was grooming behavior.
He groomed her, and then also like he told her, "Yo, this is where people come and take what they want." And then all that bullshit, the fuck shit happened, and then it's just like, but now she got that in her head, like, all right, and again, not to take agency away from her, she is old enough to make some good decisions, but she's also at the end of the day a child.
Your prefrontal cortex is not together until 25.
Right, that's what I'm saying. Right. Your brain is not yet fully developed, and even then, some people they just have no common sense. But the point is, it's just like she was. It's this line between like victimization, because I think everything that happened to her. I don't think in those ways. I don't think Rhaenyra had agency there. Like, and that's where, like, when you said like the difficulties of it, like where that was grooming what Damon was doing, and then her then turning around and doing quote unquote this to Sir Christian, which once again, that's a grown ass man, right? He can also just be like, nah, bro, who cares if she's a princess?
I've taken it as he's like similar in age to her. Like he's like a couple years older, but he's not that much older than her.
Okay, like he's not Viserys himself.
No. I feel like with him, it's just like, I don't think there's a power imbalance. I don't really think he had much of a choice to say no. And it's like he low-key was trying, because it was like
he was giving her time to withdraw. He was like,
right,
that slow taking up the armor, that was like, keep thinking, like you were saying, you would be dry by that time,
right?
Is she gonna dry up?
45
is she gonna
45 minutes, all them ties.
I'm taking the laces off now. He was taking it out of every eye of the shoe. That's a difficult topic, because it's just like, I mean, at the end of the day, I do think that there was some victimization of Rhaenyra here. Like, she's still a child.
Yeah, and I think Damon was the only person that really like understood her on a certain level. So for him to groom her in that way is just really unfortunate, because they had before they did all of that, they had a very strong bond, and they were emotionally like tied with one another. And so for it to be tainted in that way, I thought that was sad. And then at the same time, him taking her to this pleasure house, like,
she ain't never seen this shit before in her life.
She never seen it. And the thing about it is, like, okay, if you're going to take her over there, at least have one of the brothel ladies show her how she can pleasure herself, how she doesn't actually need a man to...
That would mean him actually being concerned about her welfare as a person and not trying to play the Game of Thrones.
It would make too much sense, Sheikah.
Right. And so it's just like, she now thinks, because she was groomed that way, that pleasure has to come from a man.
Betrayal.
Right. And it doesn't, but oh well.
Let me talk about my last thing I disliked about this episode. Hypocrites and liars, the lot of them. Not Rhaenyra lying in the name of her moms.
I was here for it, honestly, because girl, tell whatever lies you need to get these people off your back, because they don't need to be concerned about your sex life. Don't be in my sex life. Bye.
Right.
Sure.
Go through my daddy and be quiet.
Yeah. Keep it to yourself.
All valid points. This is the same mom that you bring up when people try to like tell you to do things that you're trying to. You was like, and what about my mother? And you don't respect my mother and what we went through. And you just lying on her name. She said in the name of my mom.
But okay. But do you think her mama would have been on her side? Like, girl, lie to them people. Use my name to lie to them people. Tell them what they need to know. Don't let them be your sex life.
Me with this girl, this heifer. I checked her in the first episode. Lie to her. Shit.
Like, this girl replaced me. You can lie to her all you want to. Use my name if you got to. Do what you got to do.
Okay. And I did have one more. Viserys, him talking about he not marrying no Valerian, but he uses that same reasons that everyone told him he needs to marry into that family to be like, Rhaenyra, you got to marry Laena. Because they're a powerful house. And it's like, nigga, this is the same shit we've been telling you
That's why
4 years
Rhaenyra was
ago.
able to use the hand card against them. She was like, you ain't gonna get me.
He did the Uno reverse on her. And I'm like, wow, that shit crazy. Crazy. Did y'all have any other dislikes for this episode?
I had one, and I probably can be talked out of this being racist, but it felt racist to me. It was whenever the Grand Maester Melos was talking about Corlys Velaryon and why they should like try to like reunify with that house and how like what they were like whatever. And he's like, you know, we have to Corlys is an overproud man. And I heard overproud as uppity Negro, and I just had to be like, excuse me, overproud.
They call him the one Negro on the show uppity.
I'm like, the man's is establishing a house of riches and power, and you're gonna call this man overproud? He should be proud about all the stuff he's accumulated.
Now,
excuse me?
He saved y'all from the crabs.
He
and y'all
did.
And he's the only black man in this realm that we've seen so far. He over here accruing all this stuff in y'all's white world, and he's overproud. Yeah. Sir, he's not proud enough. Get out of here.
Talk you out of that portion because that's just listen. This is why it's called Castle Black. We're looking at it in the lens of black people, okay? And this is the stuff we deal with, and that's like we see it. Like when we see it or hear it, like 9 times out of 10, it's not your imagination. You're not, just I don't know, reaching. Like 9 times out of 10, it's true. At the same time, when you're looking at it in the lens of Game of Thrones, right, or House of the Dragon, right, as far as I can tell, they're not talking about races, right? Like they're not, as far as I can tell of episode 4 of this series, they haven't approached someone to talk about something based on their skin color or whatever, like, right? And with Valerian, the thing he keeps having about him is, oh, he got the blood, they the big family with all the money and this and that, right? So they just keep talking big shit about this family. So that's the only point where I'd be like, well, maybe not, because but also it's just more playing the game, right? Saying, oh, well, he was part of our group and now he went off on his own. Oh, he's over proud. And just sowing seeds of discontent, continuing to do that. At the same time, I feel you, because he basically did call that nigga uppity.
He did. And that was fucked up. Corlys just went out and saved y'all and saved your trade. Okay. He technically helped you with your money.
Your economy would look like crap if it weren't for Corlys.
Right. Okay. On top of all the other diseases Viserys has, he would have had crabs too. So he should be appreciative.
Oh my God. All right, y'all. Let's close out this review with Chaos is Coming. Our predictions or thoughts about what we think is going to happen going forward based on the things we saw in this episode. Someone jump in and let me know what you think's happening.
So something that I talked about, I'm wondering because, wait, I'm trying to see if I even wrote anything. Chaos is Coming. I thought I did. I'll go with the Otto one.
Yeah.
So Otto Hightower, just because Viserys took that little pendant off his chest, don't mean shit, because Viserys, right? Just
Wait. It reminded me of when he snatched Nunu's chain off her. Give me that shit.
Right. Just because Viserys took that pendant off of him doesn't mean Otto is out of the place, okay? Because Otto controls the Grand Maester. And so Grand Maester went and gave Rhaenyra that abortion tea and said it was from the king. But do we know it's from the king? Or is it from Otto?
Facts. Because niggas is whispering.
Right. And it's just like, we can't really tell, if, he has, I don't know if he has erectile dysfunction. We don't know if Damon actually did anything or touched on Rhaenyra in that way with his stuff to be able to know if there's a baby from him. But then there could also be a baby from Sir Christian. But regardless, gave her that tea. So I'm thinking Otto's gonna find a way to come back because Viserys is very much
Absolutely.
so. Viserys is easily led, okay?
Mhm.
Because even though he acknowledged all the shit that Otto was doing, it's like it took you this damn long to see it. But when people are in his ear, he just goes with whatever that person is talking about. So if Alicent says, "Oh, you should send ships over to help Damon out," he goes and does that because she was in his ear. Otto talks about, "Oh, well, Damon was out here doing the hokey pokey with your daughter." Oh, I believe that. Bring that hoe up to the throne and stuff so I can
Mhm.
kick his ass or
Mhm.
whatever. Then Rhaenyra's just like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna marry Laenor, but you need to get Otto out of this place because he's a vulture." Okay, well, Otto, see you later. You helped me become a king. Bye bye. Like
And if we
he,
being real, just that other point you made, Viserys didn't really beat Damon's ass like he should have beat Damon's ass. Like
right,
He kicked the man, then drew a dagger.
he
Look,
did
look.
light. He did light work on him. He
Okay.
ain't do nothing real on him. Like
Here's the thing I was going to bring up, but I
I thought he was
didn't.
gonna
But I'm
cut
going to
that
bring it
nigga
up
head
right
if
now.
he was about it. He would have fucking beheaded that nigga where he stood. But he's not about that life.
I was going to bring this. Okay. I just want to rewind real quick to when the beginning of the episode when Damon came into the Iron Throne, and once again the King's Guard was between him and Viserys because Viserys ain't about actually like hitting him himself. He will have all of his guards around him to threaten this man before he will threaten the man, and he walks down with the granddaddy freaking sword of House Targaryen, and he's using it as a cane. The man's not even using it for the proper respect that this freaking sword should have. And this Damon is coming up to him with a freaking axe in front of him. And this man is like, you're using your sword as a cane with a man who has an axe in front of your face. What is wrong with you? So when he just barely kicked Damon while he was already down and just had it waving the dagger around belligerently, I'm like, this man ain't about nothing.
Someone just said that your brother tried to sleep with your daughter, her
and
uncle.
This is your reaction,
and you just give him this light kick. Like, I don't give a fuck who the fuck that is. Behead the nigga on. It's on site. And I didn't get no on-site energy from him. And that's why I'm like, this nigga is not serious. He's not serious. He's unserious. He's a dickhead. Otto. Oh, and that's another thing about Otto, like, coming back. He's coming back. His whole daughter is married to the king. He ain't just gonna be pushed aside that easy. He knows things.
I think that I don't want to spoil anything, but I also do like the fact that like what we're seeing here is going to have ripple effects because Rhaenyra clearly got this man out of the job. And if push comes to shove, Viserys is not going to be quiet about the fact that she was a part of this. So it's going to come back to Otto at some point. And when we know there's going to be drama later, this is going to be part of the drama. Like the clear lines of delineation between who's effing with who and who has grace for who. And the fact that Rhaenyra, she was right though, about like, you can't have someone who's supposed to be your close person over here spying on your family. Like, because who knows what this man's spying on for you? She didn't say that, but who knows what this man has done against you, spying on you. So you just can't have that. And I think that we're going to see the ramifications of her stepping into the Otto Hightower trying to prosper in the world kind of thing pretty soon, because this man is falling apart. How much longer does he have to live?
Not long. And as we speak about ramifications, are we also going to see the ramifications of the result of that ghetto ass fight with the Blackwood kids, the Black and Mild kid, and the Baratheon dude that clowned him, and the fact that the Black and Mild kid got in that man's ass, and that was that. But is that going to matter?
I'm not sure.
I'm gonna say House Valerian, House Strong, House Blackwood. Did we hear about those houses in Game of Thrones, which happens decades later?
I didn't hear about no Blackwood in Game of Thrones, so he probably gonna die.
I didn't. It's just that they would make sure that we saw all of that go down. So I was like, does this mean something or could not? Yeah. I'm just this series just I'm just like, well, where do we go from here? And that's what I'm thinking about when I'm thinking about the chaos is coming section. Like, where do you go from here? Because I just felt like I just didn't think we would arrive to this level of fucked uppery this quickly. And it's only episode 4. I don't even remember how many episodes in this season. Like, how much worse is it gonna get?
But that's funny to me because, like, how many episodes? It was the first episode when Jaime Lannister pushed Bran Stark out of the tower.
Facts.
So, I
Facts.
mean,
But
I'm
but
looking.
but besides what, like family incest, that was the worst thing to happen. I mean, when you put it all in the aggregate, and I'm not talking about all the magical
Ned
shit,
Stark's head coming off at the end of this first season.
that was shocking. But that's the end of the season. Yes, the brand thing happened, but then
the dragons coming to birth after a funeral pyre.
Nah,
she had to stab her moon and stars.
We expected the dragons. No. I'm just talking about.
She had to stab her moon and stars.
You know,
we not
the red wedding, but it's like that's at the end and stuff. Like, I don't know. I just felt
also
like
King Joffrey been poisoned,
but that was built up. It didn't just happen. Like, we built up to that, and that's why I just feel like they're just doing the wildest shit right away. And I'm like, how much crazier is it gonna get?
It's gonna go there.
Okay. All right.
I think from perspective of not only just like Game of Thrones, but knowing what's gonna happen to this family, they're literally just setting things up. Like, it seems like it's happening out of nowhere. They're setting things. This is a domino. We're only like partially through this row of dominoes that are getting knocked over.
That shit is wild to me. Y'all, tell me some Easter eggs and something better than all the fuck shit happening. Tell me some Easter eggs and stuff you guys saw or wanted to mention.
I love costuming, so I'm running. Yeah, I very much paid attention to because like every time Rhaenyra is in a scene with Damon after he gave her the necklace, she makes a point to highlight this necklace. And whenever they're out and they're talking, she's wearing her yellow dress. They're out in the courtyard or whatever. You can see that the chains that make the bodice, like the top of the bodice of the dress, are similar chain work as the necklace that Damon gave her. And I'm like, it's signifying like foreshadowing, like how close they get later, but also how she's like kind of like dressing up for her uncle or whatever. Like, it seems like initially innocent, like she's like showing him support, knowing how everyone else treats him. Mm-hmm. But then it goes very dark, knowing what happens towards the end of the episode, right? Like, how like is he using this behavior as like, oh, she wants it, oh, I can groom her behavior kind of thing. And then also how like she doesn't want to be at court for the most part. She knows that no one's there for her. But then whenever he's around, she gets involved in the court. And like both Alicent and King Viserys notice that. You can see them like peeping that she walks over there whenever Damon is there. And that's really interesting to me. And also now, currently, because again, with foresight of what's going to happen later, very interesting that Alicent, while she's still kind of like backing Rhaenyra and wants Rhaenyra to remain heir in a way, she's wearing the Targaryen black and red. And we know that colors are going to come up in how people dress in the future war between the houses or within the house, and what colors they're going to wear. So it's interesting right now, her loyalty, while she's still somewhat loyal to Rhaenyra, is the black and red. And I want to mention that it's very, like, talking about hypocrites and like going in a circle. At some point, Rhaenyra is going to have to get tired of every time someone has something to say about her, she's getting a question of whether she's going to be the heir anymore. First, it's that there's a little boy born. Now it's that she possibly like had sex with her uncle at a brothel. Like, at this point, like, if you're gonna take the freaking title from me, take the effing title from me. Because like, seriously, what else you gonna do?
Yeah. Right. I also noted Rhaenyra's necklace as well, because when you're watching like the opening of House of the Dragon and you see all of that blood going around, they do pan to the symbol of the necklace, and you see it actually like rise up while like the blood is moving around it. And so when I saw that, I was like, okay, maybe that signifies that even when all of this death and destruction, whenever that starts happening, that Rhaenyra and Damon are always going to be like solid, because that it rose up and it wasn't technically like touched. But I don't know. I might be inferring a lot from the opening, but that's something that I noted.
Or you might be damn right, because it's just like sometimes, and some of the stuff that again that we thought just like, oh, that's too obvious, or that's not gonna happen, like it happened, and it was just based off of very plain clues, and that weren't disguised at all. So you might be very much right. We'll see. We'll see
We'll
that in
see.
episode 5. We'll see that in the remaining episodes. I am actually going to be really sad because I know soon there's going to be this switch off point where they fast forward in 10 years into the future or something like that. So we're not going to see what's her name? The actress that plays Rhaenyra, like
Millie
Millie.
Hancock?
Yeah, we're not gonna see her, or maybe hopefully we'll see her in like a flashback or something. I don't know, but
Yeah.
point is, I've really fallen in love with her and her role and just how she's been playing it. Like she's taking it. So I'm sad to like see that like that part's coming to end. So if we don't get to see a lot of her going forward, I do hope that at some point they decide to, like, I don't know, even a side story, bring her in so we can see. That said, before we get out of here, we have to name our Dragoon of the week. I know who mine is. Portia, who is your Dragoon of the week?
My Dragoon of the week shall always be Viserys, because I'm tired.
He's a fucking idiot.
I'm so tired of this man.
Okay. Chica, who's your Dragoon of the week?
My Dragoon of the week is Misaria, because she came back with her bad accent and she was just like, okay, this man said he was going to fake marry me. He didn't. He left me on Dragonstone while he was burning up them crabs. So I'm going to start a new business and I'm going to sell the information I know about him so I could get money. But it was just kind of, I don't know, maybe it's less of a woman scorn type of thing. But I was just like, okay, you a Dragoon of the week for me, because okay, that's a play. That's a play. Okay, get your money, girl. But yeah.
Well, my Dragoon, for many obvious reasons, is Damon. And one of the reasons is just, are you dumb? Are you dumb? His decision making, the things he's thinking about and just not thinking about it's mind bending, and I can't with him. So he's mine. Like, nigga is not it this week for me. That said, that's the end of our review of episode 4. Thank you everybody for listening. Hope you had a great time with Castle Black and the Daughters of the Dragon here, as we've been calling ourselves. If you love what you heard, please make sure you're doing a few things for us. Make sure you are subscribed to For All Nerds on your favorite podcast platform. That's the only way you get to listen to Castle Black. Make sure you're also supporting us. You can do that by, yes, following us, maybe sharing, definitely sharing, telling people about us, tweeting us, adding us. We're at Castle Black Pod on Twitter. Please, we want to hear from you. Tell us what you thought. Anything we said that you agreed with, vehemently disagree with, whatever. Just be respectful, but let us know. Let us know. I'm at Tatiana King Portia. Spell that one, Portia. You're at
PORSHEUH.
Right. And then we have Chica Supreme. You see it on the screen there. On the Twitters. And if I said see it on the screen because you should also be watching us. Go to our YouTube, what is it? youtube.com/forallnerdstv, or you can just Google For All Nerds TV and it will pop up. And most importantly, please, if you appreciate us and appreciate the show and everything that we're doing here, please support us financially. Just for $1 a day, you can help the Castle Black podcast. Go to patreon.com/forallnerds. Every tier is an incredible tier because you get special privileges no matter what tier you're on. And we appreciate you. You also get free stuff, free access. You get discounts to merch. Go to tpublic.com/stores/forallnerds for all of our amazing merch. I said it before, we're going to have some new Castle Black stuff up there so y'all can rep the show as well. And thank you. Just thank you for listening. Thank you for engaging with us. We appreciate you. And we will see you soon for more House of the Dragon, this time for episode 5.